Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen D. Kelly, and this is the Stephen D. Kelly Show. And we are Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. And it's Thursday night. It's now 6:03. What is it? August 8th, 2024? 8/8/2024. Does that have numerological meaning? Gosh. Oh, yeah, that's right. They like the eights. You know why? Because eights are all about power and prestige. I'm an eight, actually. 3, 8, 11. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. But, yeah, we're going to probably talk about that stuff a little bit later. But before I do that, I need to talk about something really important I want to share with you all. And that is that today, this day, is International Cat Day. So, what can I say, right? I agree. They should have a month, Pride Month, all that nonsense. The kitty cats, they deserve something better, right? At least that's what Mr. Kitten. I've been going around telling all the cats, in case they didn't know. Okay, first of all, as of Monday, I would say anything after today is gravy. I'm actually very happy that we are actually getting to have this show today, and I'm getting to do it, and hopefully everything will be wonderful tomorrow, and I'll get to record it. But here's what's going on. Before I get into all the Mason crap and all the, current event stuff that we're dealing with in Twitter and the fun lands, of course, we're having lots of growth in Twitter, and we're certainly having lots of growth in our group, our Occupy to Getty / Stephen D. Kelly group in Telegram. And a lot of that has to do with an interview I did just the other day with the Dangerous Dames, Lee Merritt, and her colleague, I don't remember her name. And I was supposed to do a couple other interviews, but one got completely messed up by, I guess, Mason attack. And the other one was, I'll blame them. Well, let me get away. I'm actually under a Mason attack right now. My landline is not working, But I'll tell you, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but the last time that happened was when Gray, Emma and Gray, they were trying to mess with me. Yeah, so I'm not too surprised to see something like that again, seeing as Le Meta Surfer is on the attack. But anyway, idiots aside, we'll talk about more important stuff first. Now, in the Middle East, I want to talk about Ukraine, of course, but we're going to start with the Middle East because that's probably the biggest problem. On the day that Iran was going to inaugurate their recently elected president, the guy that was replacing the one that died in a freak helicopter accident, the day he was going to be inaugurated, they had many VIPs there to attend the ceremony. And one of them was the political leader of Hamas. And they had him staying at a Revolutionary Guard safe house. And the safe house was basically an apartment building, a lot of people inside the building, families, etc. And they blew it up. Now, when I say they, of course, I'm talking about Mossad, Israel. The point is that they killed 100 people in the process. They completely leveled this building, and they were able to ascertain that the body of this Hamas leader was inside the rubble along with all these other people, along with their kitty cats. Now, this, of course, is really insulting to Iran because it managed to happen in spite of all the security, and it's very embarrassing that a visiting dignitary could be assassinated in their very capital with all the security and everything that they should have in place. A building such as a Revolutionary Guard safe house should be very safe. Anyway, so it's humiliating. Now, of course, there was a lot of speculation. Some people said it was a missile or a drone, of course, which is kind of ridiculous because it had to go a long ways, and it was a very precise hit. But it was actually bombs that were put into the building beforehand, some say a month ahead of time, by, what Iran would call terrorists, insurgents, or revolutionaries that want to overthrow the current regime in Iran. Those are the people responsible. Now, Iran's very pissed off about that. Well, Israel, of course, is not hiding the fact that they did. But basically, bottom line is that Iran is going to respond. And they have said that they will choose a time that they will attack. And when they do so, it will be upon Israel, and it will not be a lesson or a example or anything restrained like has been done in the past. It will be an all-out attack meant to cripple Israel. And here's the thing. It's not just going to be Iran. It's probably also going to be Syria. It's probably also going to be Lebanon. It's probably also going to be vestiges of Iraq. And who knows who else is going to join in besides Yemen and perhaps even Saudi Arabia. Now, of course, Saudi Arabia isn't really interested in this sort of thing, but they are supposedly part of the coalition that's supposed to try to talk Iran out of doing this. And it turns out, well, I think the reason why Saudi Arabia and Iran were getting well together for so long and bearing the hatches because of Iran's relationship with Russia. You see, Iran signed a treaty with Russia here recently, and nobody really understands the complete details of the treaty, but basically we know that it is a defense cooperation agreement. And we know that right now Russia has been airlifting large transport planes loaded with gear into Iran. We know for sure that they have received very advanced electronic warfare systems, which are probably better than what the United States have, and additional hardware, much additional hardware, including, they say, Iskander-M missiles, which are capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, which Iran just said they have 12 of. Now, of course, an Iskander missile is hypersonic, and it can't be intercepted. So, whatever Patriots, whatever Iron Dome, whatever Israel has, if an Iskander missile is fired at a target in Israel, it will hit that target. Now, who knows if they plan on striking something like, what's that thing out in the desert out there? That nuclear facility? That thing out there, yeah. Dimona, that's it. So this is not good. Now, of course, the United States is doing everything it can to try to talk Iran down from this, and has basically gotten a cold shoulder. At the same time, they try to say that if something gets started, if it whatever gets beyond some point, that they will jump in and get involved in the fight, which I assume means attacking Iran proper and doing a lot more than just trying to shoot down projectiles coming from these various countries. Now, the thing is, let's just say for a second, they actually did just that. They wanted to not do a preemptive strike, but they actually waited for them to launch this strike and then try to intercept targets. You'd be getting everything from drones to cruise missiles to relatively obsolete rockets. But you'd also be getting the Iskanders, and you'd be getting some other very sophisticated ordnance. And this is not something that they could possibly deal with because it would become overwhelmed. Now, here's the other thing, and this is probably a more likely scenario. If they do a first strike, they will probably immediately destroy the Patriots and any kind of air defense systems that are out there. Now, they do this in Ukraine all the time. They hunt for these Patriot systems. They take them out with these hypersonic missiles because one hypersonic missile, I believe, is, $8 million. And one Patriot system is, close to $1 billion with all the accessories. So, yeah, it's a little lopsided. This is what I expect is going to happen. Now, the reason why this hasn't happened on Monday, today being Thursday, of course, was because there was a big meeting that was just concluded between the Organization of Islamic States, or the Islamic Conference, as the Islamists call themselves, basically, that is a forum where all of these Islamic states, especially Iran, are going to get together and strategize, and Iran will basically let them know what's going on. Obviously, they would not plan any sort of an attack until the meeting was concluded so that they could coordinate with everybody and make sure there was no misunderstanding or miscommunication. Well, what does that mean? It means everybody knows. Everybody knows what's going on. The United States knows, Saudi Arabia knows, Jordan knows, all these, Egypt knows. Not a good situation. So I'm assuming that unless, like I said, Israel does a first strike combined with, of course, the United States, they're not going to be able to survive a sustained attack. Now, Netanyahu is already in his bunker. And from what I hear, over there in Israel right now, they are frantically building additional bunker facilities. Frantically. They're expecting it to come. That's really what we're looking forward to. And if anything, that is an Armageddon type situation. I told you that the phone wasn't working. Now, of course, it's ringing. That's probably the guy screwing with me. Anyway. I'll tell you, though. If we go all out in the Middle East, there's a good chance that they're going to be losing aircraft carriers, and they're going to be losing quite a bit. And this is not a good time because Russia is seriously going to make sure that they are supporting our enemies in this battle. Even if it's a proxy war, and even if we get involved, and it's not a proxy war, they will be involved. From what I understand, Sergei Shoigu went to Iran and was involved in a meeting that, of course, was scheduled before the current hostilities. But there's no doubt that he was there to coordinate the Russian assistance in this effort, not the least of which would probably be involving Russian personnel running these missiles, whatever else was delivered. Kind of like in Korea when we had Russian pilots flying MiGs. Anyway. So we know why they're doing it, but you have to be aware that they are doing it. Now, I have to talk a little bit about Ukraine. The Ukrainian army, of course, is really struggling. They're losing men faster than they can replace them, and the people that they're using to replace them are the people that they've just pulled off the streets with barely a week of training. It's not a good situation. The Russians are advancing, but what has happened just here recently is a couple things. Now, obviously, the front line of the Ukraine is very long. It's a very long front line, and there's quite a few. Well, there's several battle groups that are working up and down this line, but just recently, the Ukrainians have staged an offensive, or at least a couple what would appear to what they're going to try to pass off offensives, and one of them is in the directions of Kramatorsk. No, it's by the Zaporozhye. That's right. They're actually making an effort to capture the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen, but at the same time, just knowing that they want to do something like that is scary. But what's more interesting is that up north, closer to Kiev, north of Belgorod, in the Kursk region, they've actually launched an offensive over the border into the Kursk region with something like 10,000 men and a bunch of hardware. And, of course, these guys are getting wiped out, and their hardware's getting wiped out, and there's no real military significance to all this. And, of course, the Russians aren't really completely fortified up there. This is up near the border of Belarus. But the point is that they're losing. There's no reason to be doing something like this, but what they're asking for to happen is a whole nother front created. And the Russians aren't going to pull troops out of the troops that are already positioned at the various places along the front line. They're going to bring in new troops from the rear. They've got something like 300,000 troops ready to go, and they can very easily fill this area with that, which is what's going to happen. But that's the thing, is that if that does happen, they're going to be very close to Kiev. There's going to be no reason for them not to go all the way to Kiev. And I'm just saying that if you ask me, before this is over, there's going to be a new border, and it's going to run the whole length of the Dnieper. Seriously, and I think Kiev is going to get split in half, kind of like Berlin. Anyway, that's all fun and games. But what's really important? Well, the United States already knows that they've lost. The so-called F-16s have actually showed up, and most of them are display pieces that are you can't even fly them because the plastic canopies are so old they would blow up in altitude. Funny stuff like this. Yeah, it's a complete farce. It's a complete loss. And gosh, then you throw in the whole Biden thing, the Kamala Harris thing. Can Trump save us? Guys, they really want to get this World War III going. And I am really concerned about what they do with Israel, because at the very least, the United States is going to take a big hit. And there is going to be some certain chaos, and certainly there's going to be chaos in the financial markets and things like this, and logistics that need to supply food. So obviously, those of us that live in urban areas, we have to worry about this stuff more. But not trying to be a fear porn guy, but we want to prevent that if at all possible. But I don't think this thing is going to work out. Now, I'll just say this: actual warfare does take a long time. Just like in Ukraine, it's taking years to cover this territory. And unfortunately, let's hope that doesn't come to us. But I don't really have a good segue from the geopolitics into the Ukrainian or the Masonic shit, except that when you consider the reality that these guys, this system, the European system, the Euro Union, all this stuff is vestiges of the Nazis. It's a suicidal endeavor. It is very, very similar to the world coming down on Hitler, if you will. They do not have an off switch. They do not have a reverse gear. I do not see them doing anything that they can to slow down our destruction, if not the destruction of everybody. And that, I guess, certainly it's something we should be concerned about, but ultimately we know what this is. This is the mafia. This is Satan. This is the Bolsheviks. This is the tribe. This is the Rothschilds, New World Order, whatever you want to call it. And right now, of course, we're going at it with the Masons, hard and heavy. Now, why should we be wasting our time on these idiots, these Mason idiots? You know, we spend plenty of time doing battle with the dark side at night. We spend plenty of time doing what we can to expose people to the issue of the Getty. So why is this important? Well, needless to say, the people that were fighting under the Getty, and the people that are controlling the Foundation, and the people that are controlling the Templar orders that we're dealing with, these are Masons, technically. These are much higher level Masons than these little idiots that we're dealing with, but they're still Masons. Now, we didn't walk into this looking for this particular enemy. And to be honest with you, I really was pretty much unaware of the nature and scope and the mechanics of how this particular enemy functions. So we're probably going to try to talk about that tonight, even though I don't really want to give them any energy. But the fight is not going to go away. And I should also say right up front that the enemy would really like to make a deal and would really like to see this come to an end. And it's kind of funny to me when I hear something like that, because, I think, okay, let's see, you got a little $10 million empire here, you're paying out your little associates, say $800,000, whatever. All right, asshole, Give me a couple $100,000 and I will stop saying bad things about you. I mean, seriously, how are you going to put a price on that? Now, I've also had thoughts like that with the Getty guys. I mean, not serious, but serious thoughts, but I entertain it. But I always wonder why the Getty, why they haven't just tried to throw a shitload of money at me and distract me so much that I couldn't focus on the mission. I mean, to me, that sounds really easy because, humans are weak. They get some money, and first thing they want to do is take a vacation and go, hit the beaches and this kind of thing. Right. Anyway, but I think at the same time, they probably figure that if that did happen, that money would go right into fighting them, and it would turn into more problems. But it's just kind of funny, when you've got these people that actually do have all the money in the world and they've billions and billions of dollars, why they don't actually make an effort. Now, I suspect it's purely fear. I think they know better. I think that they think it's probably would be fatal for them. They probably think that no matter what they do, it would turn ugly. Or maybe they're so angry, they're so bitter, they're so, upset about everything that's been done and the humiliation and the sheer audacity that we would challenge these so-called Olympians, these gods on earth. I'm sure ego has a lot to do with it. And greed, of course. They know what's going to happen, what's going to happen to their money. I want you guys to remember that when you're dealing with these Satanists, their priorities are greed and ego. This is the only thing they live for. And this is the thing that you should be looking to take away from them. Crush those egos. Take away that money. That's their God. Well, we're doing that, obviously, when we combat these guys on Twitter. And who knew that Twitter was a major, major part of their Ponzi scam, networking, whatever BS that they needed in order to not just try to make money and sell their satanic Ouija money-making scheme, Ponzi, but they also needed fresh blood to become Satanists. They need to come up with a cool way of promoting Freemasonry, without coming out and saying that it's Freemasonry. Now it's Club 33, GG33, 33 Gold, something of this nature. They use all the symbols, and they promise over and over and over to use knowledge of the mysteries, ancient mysteries. They don't use words like esoteric, but they do use astrology, numerology, something, whatever. I'll tell you, I am one of these people that believes that these things are tools, and they don't necessarily belong to the domain of Satan or otherwise. For instance, numerology, it's just a tool. It works because it's a tool. Tools work. It doesn't work because Satan makes it work. Just like tarot cards, the intentions are already attached to it. It's not Satan making those cards move, it's you. But these guys, their only focus is greed and ego. That's all they do. One of the things I see, and I know I talked about this last week, but it's definitely a reoccurring thing with these guys, and that's this whole royalty business. They all want to be royalty. They all imagine themselves kings. Now, apparently, in the satanic Freemason belief system, they have a, whatever you want to call it, a belief that eventually their souls, or they, become kings. They go into a dimension or something of this nature, a new reality, a timeline, where in this particular timeline they are kings, they are the royalty, they rule over everybody. Now, this is a reoccurring thing because obviously there's other groups that have these similar kind of ideas. Like, for instance, the Mormons. The Mormons think like that too. It's well, I'll just say it's a little creepy. I wouldn't be surprised if the Scientologists thought the same way. But anyway, bottom line is you've got to have pretty low self-esteem to think that you need something like that. And I'm just going to remind all of you that there's no reason for us to be kind to these people in public. There's no reason for us to be polite. There's no reason for us to respect them because they are Satanists. They can say whatever they want to try to defend themselves and say that they're not Satanists, but it doesn't matter because everything they say is going to be bullshit. It doesn't matter. They're going to use projection and they're going to lie about everything they say. This is the nature of Satan. It's extremely simple. So we don't tolerate that because ultimately it doesn't matter if your grandpa was a Mason, he was a nice guy, or this guy here seems like a really nice, polite guy, charming and all this nonsense. The bottom line is they do everything they do for money. They do everything they do for greed and for the ability to brag, to flex. Flex, that was that word I was looking for. Flex their money on everybody else to show how superior they are and how they are measured by money, and that money makes them superior to you. Now, I guess that's part of that whole royalty thing, but the thing is that the purpose of this gluttony and this ego and this greed is that it's supposed to be attractive. And by throwing around this money and posing in front of fancy cars and going to these events with mansions and this kind of thing, working out, trying to look good, the whole thing, fit, fresh, whatever it is they're trying to do, it's all about ego and greed. And it's meant to attract more people, more young blood, because, you know, a lot of people are very lazy. They don't have any skills of any value. They have no value. So what do? They turn to this kind of shit that basically is involving speculation, scamming, anything, crypto, NFTs, whatever it is, blockchain. They'll do it all. You know, it's like, it used to be a joke. You read the comic books in the old days, you'd think these idiots with the Dr. Marvels and crap would know about this, but there was a thing. It was a book by Dale Carnegie, Get Rich Quick. I think, what is it, Make Friends and what have you. But anyway, back in the day, there were these books that you could buy, these paper pamphlets, and they were get rich quick schemes. And people would actually buy these things by the thousands. They'd send away, they'd send their 25 cents, whatever, to get this book, this pamphlet, this little paper thing that they would get in the mail. And the rule number one of this, how to make money, was to write a book telling people how to make money. I kid you not, that's what they did. Well, this is no different. This whole business with their specialty clubs and the Club 33 nonsense and all this, it's exactly the same thing. When Gary, you know, numbers guy, king of the Godfather numbers, whatever the fuck bullshit he is, gay Gary, he pays out. What is he doing paying out? What is that? We know what that is. That's a Ponzi scam. That's a pyramid scheme. Where do these payouts come from? From the membership and the payments made by the new people who were sucked in by the displays of greed and ego of the earlier members. So it looks to me like, as far as little Gary is concerned, well, little, he's not little, he's pretty chubby, but it's Gary, this Red Pill Aries guy, and Doc. Doc was the one that started all this stuff. Red Pill Aries, I haven't had any interaction with him. Well, a little bit. He's not too bright. He looked like he went to jail for something stupid, and he got passed around. He was the boy toy, which definitely coincides with this whole gay stuff that they do within these Freemason societies, these things that they have to do to get up higher up in the ladder. Now, I'm sure what's his face, Grand Commander. He probably loves to have these guys like Doc and what's his face, Red Pill Aries. I'm sure nobody's wanting to fuck Gary, but Gary looks like he's got a thing for that Red Pill Aries. Now anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's just part of it. But again, I want to remind you, if we can't banish these idiots from open society who are not so well hiding the fact that they're using Satanism to cash in and make their money, what are we going to do? We know they're using gematria. Who else does that? Let's see. The whole Trump gang, numerology, gematria, all this. Nasera, this get rich quick evil crap, this speculation. What is it? It's not even speculation. It's everybody gets a handout kind of a thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's not going to happen, people, but you got to watch out for it. Now, they also like to use the red string. And what is the red string? It's Kabbalah. It's the red circle. It's the, you know why they wear a red string? It's supposed to ward off the evil eye. And what is the evil eye? The evil eye is the eye of jealousy. When people look at these people, when they're out there flaunting their egos and their wealth and their greed, they know that people will be looking upon them and thinking, look at that asshole with that money, and thinking he's so hot because he's got that Lamborghini or whatever the fuck. The red string is supposed to protect them from the so-called hate or whatever. They love it. They think that it gives them power. And trust me, when we attack them, they think, oh, the hate, it's giving me money. I'm getting bucks because they're hating us. Well, it's not true. The bottom line is that we have dealt them a significant blow with all of the Twitter pages and the shutdowns out there across their little network. And I didn't even realize that the guys that have taken the biggest hits were the highest up in there. Now I know that Doc Marvel idiot is Cuckboy. He's doing his best to reestablish his presence, and I know that they're actually having a movement out there to try to get Elon Musk and Twitter to reinstate Doc as if he was somebody like Lucas Gage or something. They call it, what do they call it? They go, free the Doc. I mean, seriously, this guy's a loser, and they're making out like he's such a big deal, all these Mason cucks. So the bottom line is that if we didn't have this greed culture, and if all you fuckers weren't thinking that you're going to get rich off of crypto and what have you, and having, well, envy and whatever it is that admiration for these people that do this crap, I don't know, maybe if you weren't so lazy and you actually learned how to make something and produce, be productive, or fight against the people like this that have raped us, because these are the damn Rothschilds, these are the Khazarian mafia types. It really doesn't matter what they say. It's just like the Jesuits, they're not Christian, they never were. When they say it's the Vatican, who do you think says that? Anyway, guys, again, not going to waste too much time on this, but it is a worthy fight, one that we will continue. I mean, obviously, if World War III starts tomorrow or the next day, God willing, it won't. We'll start talking about that more. But in the meantime, I have no intention of letting up. And to be honest with you, we've been monitoring these guys here for a little while because they've been having quite a few X spaces to talk about what they're going to do, respond, make plans, try to get Doc back in, whatever. I mean, make parody accounts of me, talk shit about me. But what we've done is we've created quite a few audio clips. I mean, obviously we have everything recorded, but we're going to be releasing a series of memes and short videos utilizing some of these very incriminating statements being made by these Satanists, like putting hexes on people and all their Lucifer is Jesus and God is Satan, Satan is God bullshit. I think that when people hear their own words, you're going to realize who you're dealing with, and it doesn't matter what they will tell you when you're confronting them. Because when they're all together, the truth will come out. And to be honest with you, if you're not on the right side now, there's no hope. Now, a lot of people think that they've said that the best way to deal with these Satanists And Luciferians is with love, and we should be spreading the message of love. Now we can be very loving, but we're very loving the same way a surgeon is that's cutting off a gangrene toe. We love the body of our patient, but that gangrene toe has got to go. And we don't hate that gangrene toe. We just remove it cleanly, surgically, with the least amount of pain. And that's exactly what we're doing with these guys. And the only reason why I haven't been paying any attention to them for is because they asked for my attention. They dared say the things. They put hexes on me. Who in the fuck in their right mind puts a hex on me? Seriously. That's like asking for divine retribution quickly. Now, again, I'm not going to focus on these guys too much. I'll tell you one thing, though. When I was dealing with the NSA way back when, and I was waiting for them to come and get me, when I was wearing the body armor and all that stuff, one of the CIA guys, he says, well, if they haven't come and got you in a year, if a year goes by and they haven't got you, they're probably not coming. I thought, oh, okay. And so, to be honest with you, I'm kind of, I would say the same thing. So what does that mean? That means these guys, you got a good year thinking about it here. You get to dwell on this stuff for a good year. All right, we'll see what happens then. But again, I don't know. A lot of these people, they keep a grudge. Now, again, there's quite a few thousand, not a huge amount, but a decent amount of these Club 33 types and people who are involved in Gary's little empire, his little scam. And they have multiple levels, bronze, silver, gold, whatever. I know there's starting to be some infighting. I know they're all starting to panic. You should be panicking. You're all involved in a damn Ponzi scam. And what happens when someone like me comes along and starts screwing with your Ponzi scam? It falls from the bottom first. So yeah, if the guys on the bottom of the damn pyramid are starting to squabble and falter, we know how this turns out. Okay? So, again, you guys deal with Gary. Okay? Instead of kissing this guy's ass and thinking he's actually got some sort of skills, you should be focusing your efforts in the opposite direction. I don't know. Unless, of course, you really think you're going to be balling based on what you learned from Gary. All right? Now, again, if what you're learning from him is just some mafia grafting, Ponzi scamming techniques, well, you're not much of a human. And again, if you're one of the people that are pro-Jesus, that are anti-Satan, you shouldn't have any fear and you shouldn't have any regrets and you shouldn't have any sort of trepidation at all when it comes to dealing with these people in a harsh way. And if anything, I can take comfort in knowing that a lot of you people that have been witnessing my interaction with these satanic cucks is that they don't have any bite. They've got a lot of bark with their hexes and crap, but they don't really have shit. They're really petty, pathetic humans. And obviously, I'm all about trying to teach you people how to deal with far stronger demons than these little... Yeah, I keep thinking about how everything they do is motivated by money and how that only works so well, especially when it comes to motivating people to get out and fight for a cause. I mean, if your only cause is you moving up the ladder and being able to brag and flex on the next guy and try to take his money so that you're going to get payouts from the jackass at the top of the pyramid, that's not much of a life. But I got to be honest, I think Twitter's not stupid. I think that Elon and his people are not stupid. And I think that they're watching this crap. And I think that one of the reasons why so many of these Masonic Ponzi scam pages were taken down so quick was because they were watching. It wasn't sure. I'm sure threatening me and trying to act like you were a damn mafia probably didn't help. But the thing is that if you take away Twitter, if you take all these guys off of this networking system, they don't have the tools they need to con people, because they need to have all of their little members follow each other. They need to have all their pages and all their posts tagged with their little GG, hashtag GG33 bullshit, et cetera, et cetera. And they need to make it look like every time they post something that gets huge amounts of, what do they call it, organic response, I think it is. Organic impressions. So the idea is that once they get these huge amounts of organic impressions, they consider themselves influencers. And as influencers, they're ballers who get to show off their money, et cetera, and their extravagant lifestyles, their Rolexes, and et cetera. Their cigars, whatever BS stacks of, what is it? Gary likes to show off like 20 grand or something. He's like holds up a couple stacks of hundreds, whatever, fucker. Anyway, again, this is nothing to, be envious of. It's certainly nothing to be afraid of. And it's nothing that you want to emulate. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that are having decent lives, successful, rewarding lives that don't require this kind of satanic, esoteric bullshit. I mean, bottom line, you look at what do they do with their numbers and his predictions. I mean, a good portion of it is for sports betting. Now, obviously, we know what that is. There's nothing noble with that. So this has to come to an end, and we have to be the ones who are responsible for doing it. And I want to thank you guys that helped me, and I'm going to let you go, but I'm just going to say real quick, I know a lot of people are going to go, leave. No, don't leave yet. If you want to help me on, if you want to help me be rich, no. If you want to send some bucks to help me pay my bills, use the PayPal, which is StephenKelly714@yahoo.com, and you got to say friends or family because I'm not taxable and all that. And I appreciate it. If you want the book or anything, you got to send me an email to law17gun@aol.com. And I'll send you the book. I'll send you healing. I'll tell you how you can become a Jedi. I will go on your radio program, whatever it is you want me to do. I won't give you advice on stock. Okay, I'm done with it. I'm not going to make any more Gary jokes. But I do want to thank all of you guys that tuned in. And we got a lot of people. We don't have as many people as we did last week when I was saying, the butthurt Masons and all that. I'm sure there's not as many Masons here tonight tuning in, but to those of you that are out there, we don't hate you. We don't really want to kill you, and your fate is in your own hands, and you're driven by your own actions. And if anything, we do believe in karma, and we do believe in instant karma, and we do believe in Rambo. So you gotta take responsibility for everything that you do, especially nowadays. We're getting so close to Armageddon. Okay. Anyway, people, I do want to thank you again for tuning in, and I want to remind you again to join the Twitter page, and I do want to, which is Stephen Kelly for President 2024. And again, that's a joke. People, don't be taking that serious. I mean, people, oh my God, they're like, oh, I hope you're never president. Oh, jeez. Hello. Anyway, and then also the Telegram page. We've had quite a few people join Telegram. We're happy to have you there. We're assuming you guys are all conscientious. If you're there to sell Bitcoin or you're just curious, I guess we'll deal with you when the time comes. But otherwise, we're happy to have you there. And again, it's Telegram, and it's Occupy/Stephen D. Kelly. All right. All right. So once again, we are Truth Cat Radio, WW Truth Cat Radio. And don't forget, today is International Day of the Cat. So how appropriate that is for Truth Cat. I should play a good cat-related song on the way out of here, but I won't. But again, my name is Stephen D. Kelly, and this is the Stephen D. Kelly Show, and we are Truth Cat. And I'll see you guys real soon, I hope, next week, all right, or in one of the groups, okay? So, good night. God bless, adios, and goodbye.